Well, I think the first journeys to Mars are going to be really very dangerous. The risk of fatality will be high. There's just no way around it. So I would not suggest having sending children, or it would be basically, are you prepared to die? Then if that's okay. Then you're a candidate for going. But really, this is less about who goes there first, or it's the thing that really matters is making a self-sustaining civilization on Mars as fast as possible. It's just different from Apollo. This is this is really about minimizing existential risk and having a tremendous sense of adventure. I mean, the thing that Mars really represents, there's the whole life insurance and protecting life and ensuring that the light of consciousness is not extinguished, which I think is incredibly important. Backing up the biosphere. And to be clear, this is not about everyone moving to Mars, it's about becoming multiplanetary. I think Earth will be a good place for a long time. But it's the probable lifespan of human civilization will be much greater if we're a multi-planet species. Now that's the defensive argument, but the argument that I actually find most compelling is that it would be an incredible adventure. I think it would be the most inspiring thing that I could possibly imagine. And life needs to be more than just solving problems every day. You need to wake up and be excited about the future, and be inspired and want to live. My view on the radiation thing is that there's certainly some risk of radiation, but it's not deadly. There'll be some slight increased risk of cancer, but it's I think relatively minor. You need to have some shielding, particularly if there's a solar flare or sort of a big any kind of sort of solar storm. We'd want to basically point the rocket at the sun and maximize your shielding effect. Point the rear of the rocket at the sun so you maximize your shielding effect and have the passengers cluster around a column of water. But I think the radiation risk there is relatively small. Once you're on Mars, obviously you cut your radiation in half just because you've got the planet shielding you, and then there's at least some atmosphere. And I think then what you can construct over time is an artificial magnetic field to deflect high energy particles. So I actually think the radiation thing is it's often brought up, but I think it's not too big of a deal. And then there's what happens once people are there. The goal of SpaceX is really to build the transport system. It's like building the Union Pacific Railroad, and once that transport system is built, then there's a tremendous opportunity for anyone who wants to go to Mars and create something new or build the foundations of a new planet. So it's like who wants to sort of be, among the founding members of a new planet, and like I said, build everything from iron refineries to the first pizza joint. We'll want them all. And then things on Mars that people can't even imagine today that might be unique or would be unique to Mars. But that's really where a tremendous amount of entrepreneurship and talent would flourish. Just as happened in California when the Union Pacific Railroad was completed. And when they were building the Union Pacific, a lot of people said, well, that's a super dumb idea because there's hardly anybody who lives in California. But now, today we've got sort of at least the U.S. epicenter of technology development and entertainment, and it's the biggest state in the nation. So, but you need that transport link. If you can't get there, and none of those opportunities exist. So our goal is just to make sure you can get there. The number of people who will be willing to move to Mars is much greater if they know that they have the option of returning, even if they never actually return. Most of the people that went to the original English colonies in North America, they never returned to Europe even once. But some did, and just knowing that if you don't like it there, that you can come back, I think makes a big difference in people's willingness to go there in the first place. And in any case, we need the spaceship back, so it's coming. You can jump on board or not. It's cool. You get a free return trip if you want. Saying what really matters is the intersection of sets of people that want to go and can afford to go. So that anything that can be done to increase the desire of people to go, I think is a good thing. And there's been a lot of Mars shows, Mars movies, and there's some TV shows that I know that are getting written, and you really want to create the dream of Mars in people's minds and have it be like, it's the new frontier, and make it as exciting and fun and desirable as possible. So I think this is where the entertainment industry can play a huge role in just putting that dream in people's heads, showing them what it can be like, and I think this is really something that appeals to anybody with an exploratory spirit. If you're an explorer, if you want to be on the frontier and push the envelope, and be where things are super exciting, even if it's dangerous, that's really who we're appealing to here. But I think anything that anyone here could do in that direction would be great. Getting people excited about going, getting the public behind this, and the truth is, like right now on Earth, you can basically go anywhere in 24 hours. I mean, anywhere. You can fly over the Antarctic pole and parachute out 24 hours from now if you want. You can get parachuted to the top of Mount Everest from the right plane, and you can go to the bottom of the ocean. Earth, from a physical standpoint, you can go anywhere. So there is no real physical frontier on Earth anymore, but space is that frontier. And so I think it's going to appeal to anyone with that exploratory spirit. Well, right now the resources that are being put into the interplanetary transport system are pretty low. I mean, certainly well under 5% of the company, and then we're spending a few tens of millions of dollars on it right now. So it's relatively small. Then we'll gradually apply more and more resources to the interplanetary system. And so hopefully over time we'll be able to have most of our engineering team, well, we will, perhaps within a year and a half to 2 years, we should have most of SpaceX engineering working on the interplanetary system, and hopefully be able to spend maybe more on the order of a couple $100 million a year, maybe $300 million a year on the system. Still not a lot relative to the overall thing. And in order to make this whole thing work and work reliably before it starts generating maybe some kind of positive cash flow it's probably an investment on the order of $10 billion. So it's a lot of money to get there. I would definitely like to go to orbit and maybe visit the space station, and then ultimately go to Mars. I've got to make sure that if something goes wrong in the flight and I die, then that there's a good succession plan, and that the mission of the company continues, and that it doesn't somehow get taken over by investors who just want to maximize the profit of the company and not go to Mars. That would be my biggest fear in that situation. I mean, I think if we were to do interstellar travel, the best way to do it would be with kind of an antimatter drive. That would give you the best, obviously, mass efficiency. It's difficult to beat antimatter. But even in a best case scenario, that's really quite a long journey even to get to Proxima Centauri. I think the key thing is to establish a base on Mars, and as soon as there's a base on Mars, then there's a very powerful forcing function for improving space transport technology. I mean, right now there just isn't that forcing function, because all we do is very local stuff in Earth orbit. So as soon as we've got a base on Mars, we can see even a base on the Moon, but certainly a base on Mars, that creates a very powerful forcing function for making space technology better and better every year, and that's ultimately what will lead us to interstellar travel. I think trying to do interstellar travel right off the bat would be very tricky. You know, it's sort of like if you're developing aircraft, you really want to first do the Wright Flyer, and then maybe get to a DC-3, and then a 707, and then a 747. But trying to build the 747 right off the bat would be a tall order.